missing the point. I'm not trying to solidify what is truth with the language that I'm using.
You're not here to defend any message. Or
yeah.
No.
Yeah, and I think that we just kind of missed the point. And it's unavoidable. It's going to happen. But again, the sincerity within me that moves is still going to move. Of course it's going to be misunderstood. That's part of it.
You're never willing to adjust what you're talking about a little bit so maybe it attracts a bigger audience or more.
I've certainly played that game in subtle and obvious ways and seen, that it's not really what I'm looking for. It's not really what I'm interested in. It kind of covers up a deeper sincerity for me. And I always return to the simplicity of this sharing. That really is like this authentic love that just simply wants to bow to people and say, I love you, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry for what you're going through. I love you. If you'd like to rest with it, then let's do that. But none of this idea of I'm this and you're that, or I know and you don't, that's just nonsense.
So when someone starts worshipping you, you immediately cut that off, say, don't be so silly, or come on, stand up, don't kiss my feet, or whatever silly games are played in these guru-disciple roles.
Yeah. I mean, again, I've had such experiences and different responses to different experiences according to what I intuitively felt. Because I understand the deep sincerity of the play of a student honoring the play of a teacher. I understand the heart in that. But again, someone can see that and then they interpret it how they interpret it. Mm-hmm. And so they don't really see what's happening. Mm-hmm. They project onto it and turn it into something that it's not.
If it's sincere that I bow to you,
right,
nothing wrong.
Because when that might happen in its play, I don't see it as anyone bowing to me. It's like when people tell me thank you, I don't feel like they're talking to me. When they say, oh my goodness, that was amazing, this changed my life, they're not talking to me. It just passes through because I'm not doing anything for them. They're talking to themselves.
They're thanking life.
They are. And we all do that. It's like, for example, every love song written isn't really about another person. It's about the love that is within the being that's looking for love. And so when someone says, oh my God, I love you, I know they're not talking to me. They're speaking to love itself. And so the biggest way to get lost in all of that is to think it's personal, to think that you're the one that did something, and that just kind of entraps you in a state of separation.
Strange thing is, or the good thing is, that a lot of great artists get to know this. Yeah. Even Beethoven didn't want to sign his symphonies with Beethoven anymore. Yeah. It's a gift from God, he said. How can I claim?
Exactly. I love this.
Yeah.
Because for me, the comedy, it's like there's a breath that's happening right now, and I'm not doing that. Right? Tiger is not breathing. It's given. And if I can't take credit for that breath, how can I take credit for anything that comes after that breath? That's complete insanity for me. It's absurd to think that the poetry that's written, the melody that is expressed through my being, that is obviously not who I think that I am. It's life expressing itself. In the same way that an apple tree might want to take credit for its apples. That's absurd. It took the entire universe to create one apple, and the tree just stood there. And so it's all of life that creates these things, and the character of me is simply an instrument for life to move. And the more that I get out of the way, which is the more I see through the illusion of myself, then the more love there is to flow. And so this becomes the journey, is to continually see the non-truth of my own being so that the truth can move. And I think that's kind of what we all want in some ways. We want to get out of the way. And so this is the point, is to see how we are in our own way so that life can return to a state of flow. that shares.
It's great when we watch a nature documentary. The voiceover says, well, the ant now decides to go left.
Right.
I start laughing. I think you can see in the animal and the insect world that there's no one inside the ant who decides to go left or right.
Right. It's like a flock of birds. They all turn.
Yeah, they go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they start to explain, yeah, but it's the first one who flaps with his wings to the left and the rest knows.
Right. And this is the comedy. I mean, and the thing is I don't know. I don't know. And what I see is sometimes when I think I know, I find out that I don't know. And sometimes I get really convinced that I know, and then I really find out that I don't.
Yeah.
And so I can't trust even what I think I know, because there's been too many direct experiences of finding out that I don't. And realizing that I don't know helps me return to what I do know, which is right now, which is this moment. This is what's real. And so I can let go of everything that I think I know, which isn't real. It's not here. It's not alive. It's not present. And so that's the invitation. And one way is to get clear about what you actually know, and then trust what you actually know, rather than what you want to know or think you know or hope you know.
And how is that with other people? You know, they have expectations of you. They have thoughts about you. They think they know who Tiger Singleton is. How do you work with that? Or is that a strange question?
I watched the show. I watched the show. Because in the same way, I can see that play inside of myself. That projects outward, that thinks it knows other people, that thinks it believes in its shoulds or should nots, and these things are always collapsing. And so in my direct experience of the disappointment, it teaches me to let go. It teaches me that I don't really know that. And so the naturalness of my being is a natural mirror for other people to see what they think they know. It's like that's the perfect teacher. And this is the thing about our naturalness of being. I think in some ways we have like this social, even spiritual construct that says, well, when people wake up, then it will look like this, and then everyone will get along, and then we'll all hold hands and sing Kumbaya. And I don't see that as the reality. I see that the way that it is the teacher, is the perfection. The conflict that shows itself is what exposes the love. It exposes the peace. And so trying to get rid of these things, I don't think is the point. I think that the point is to allow it to be what it is and see what it's showing you. Because to really discover the peace within yourself means that you let go of trying to control out here. And then in that, everything becomes peaceful. You see that everything's kind of playing its perfect role. And so when somebody says, oh, I know I said I'd do this, but I can't. Okay, this is what's happening. That's part of it. It's not you're interrupting my self-importance or you're in the way. It's this is what's happening. Thank you for letting me know, or not.
And the mother-in-law who thinks that I'm stupid and I will never achieve anything.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, what's awesome about that?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, tell me.
Well, you get to see what you see in that. Because here's the thing. If your mother-in-law called you a pickle, would that bother you?
No, because I know I'm not a pickle.
Exactly. And so when somebody judges you and it bothers you, it's because you believe it. You believe there's truth to it. And so they are helping you see what's inside that is denied within yourself. And so that's your opportunity to clarify that. And this is when your enemy becomes your friend. You see that they're not really out to get you. They're just being what they are. They're doing what they're doing, and then you see. You decide what it means, what they say. You decide if it's true.
Yeah.
Because it's how you see yourself.
If it was said in Arabic or another language I don't understand,
Exactly.
I would just watch.
Yeah, and you know what? This opens up such a great door into the humility that this is okay. This is okay that we have this self-judgment. This is okay that we think that we're not enough. This is okay that we're perceivably doing it wrong. This brings us to a point of a deeper sincerity, to acknowledge that, yeah, this pain is there. Yeah, this inadequacy is there. Because that's the doorway. it shows you something more profound. And so try and pretend like, oh no, I'm not this, and you're an idiot for saying that. You can move into this. You know what? Thank you. Thank you for sharing that.
Thanks, and we'll see what I can do about it.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't necessarily need to be rejected unless it's rejected, and then that becomes its own experience too.
Yeah.
Essentially saying that these things don't have to be pushed away.
And is there any need for or value in psychotherapy, do you think?
There's a great quote. I think it was from Alan Watts, but he might have attributed it to somebody else. But he said, the one who thinks that they should have their head examined should probably have their head examined.
It's true.
And so in this, I would say you can't get it wrong. If that's sincere, then explore it. If that seems like it offers some sort of solution, then follow that sincerity. I can't see anything that would be misguided about that, because I was just thinking about this the other day, the play of psychology, but that has its place, just like everything else.
Of course.
And it can be quite the trap to deny aspects of the play, of reality, whether it's just doctor or medicine or whatever, to hold on to a spiritual idea or to hold on to some sort of ideology that says, nope, I'm going to reject this because I'm this, rather than opening yourself up and say, okay, well, what's the most sincere thing here? What's the most natural thing here? And then see where that leads you. It's not a predefined answer. It's not, it'll be this or it'll be that. Can you open up to what's sincere?
Okay, let's take another example. Ayahuasca. It's a big thing now.
Yeah,
the medicine plant. Maybe we can find it over here somewhere. We can start.
I'm clueless on how to make it.
Yeah. Of course, you could say that has its place, but it's being offered as being the doorway to enlightenment or the path.
Of course it is.
Yeah, because they want to get people in.
Well, that's the game. Is that there's something that's offered as the answer, and then you find out that it points you to the answer, and you see it wasn't really the answer. And the more you think it's an answer, then it becomes its own addiction. It becomes its own God, which shows itself as a false God in its own way. But like all things, it's a two-edged sword. And so you can either allow it to serve or destroy. And so again, go into it with sincerity. I've never experienced it myself. I'm not particularly interested in it.
They tell me the plant will call you when it's time.
Yeah, and it may not be, and so you get to find out.
So you're not against anything that is being offered in this spiritual world, in this world of self-inquiry?
I don't even know if it's an issue of against or for. I think it's an issue of I don't know. I know my experience. Do I know your experience? No.
So what could work for you?
Exactly.
Doesn't work. Could not work for you.
In what I can communicate is what works for me is a deep sincerity. Is rather than doing what other people want me to do, looking inside and asking myself what's true, what's sincere.
And could you know, or do you know, if people are sincere in visiting you?
No.
And does it bother you? Because there's some teachers who say, well, I only want sincere students who come to me with a real urge to wake up.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's, I guess, the flavor in that of the invitation, in inviting a sincerity. But whether I know if they're sincere or not, I can't really say that. And to even try and figure it out sounds kind of exhausting. I think it would just be another thing that I would find out that I don't really know. And again, this eliminates a lot of the frustration or disappointment in this sort of offering. Again, the idea that I have something for you or I know something that you need to know is exhausting to me. It's just not about that. It's like, for me, the idea that I'm a healer or that I'm a teacher implies that I know what you need. and I don't. But I understand how the language might sound like that. It can be interpreted like that. And all I can say is I'm sorry for the misunderstanding, but that's not what I'm trying to communicate.
So you're visiting our beautiful country again in a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
It's the last weekend of June or the 1st of July, or when is it?
Oh, goodness. I think I arrive on the 22nd of June.
Okay, the day the summer starts.
Yeah, and then we have an 8-day retreat in Portugal here,
Okay.
August 24th, which will be, just a sweet time.
Yeah?
Just a sweet time.
How does that work? Is it a silent retreat?
I'm sure there will be some silence involved. Really, it's a space for people to come and rest in a deeper sincerity contained in their heart, and to kind of drop a lot of mental nonsense and connect with something that's more true, and then let that do whatever it's going to do.
And how does that work practically?
Well, we have there's yoga and meditation in the morning for those that appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And then twice a day we'll sit in satsang. And then there might be some group activity, some workshops. And then we'll have some music probably. And just hanging out. Amazing food.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Vegetarian?
Yes, I believe so. My friend who is an amazing chef here in Lisbon, Anna Katerina, the Zen chef, she's coming up to cater that. And she just does, oh my God, such a phenomenal job. It's like my dream is to be able to just put her in my back pocket and take her everywhere I travel.
Personal chef.
Yeah, and just cook for me. It would be amazing.
And is it like in satsang as we are sitting? Do people get on stage with you and ask questions, or do you talk and then last part questions? Or?
Yeah, it's not very common that I do the come up on stage thing. And granted, it's relatively small numbers, and so it's not necessary, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But usually the format is I just share from my heart, not really knowing what I'm going to say. My play in that is to forget everything that I think I know, and then ask myself, what's the most sincere thing I can say right now? And then speak from that place, and then we end up in some sort of dialogue and Q&A, and reflection. Just very kind of spontaneous, but there is somewhat of an outline. I think the theme of this retreat is cosmic support, tapping into the creator within, which is kind of geared to those who want to express themselves in this world, whether it's in a business format or just creatively, to get out of the way and see what life is trying to do. What is the love within, and how is it trying to be shared, and to eliminate the perceived difficulty that's trying to hold on to something that's not true. And you really get to see how effortless it can be.
It reminds me of a great quote by the late Dr. Wayne Dyer, who doesn't live anymore. He said, "Don't die with your music still in you."
Yeah.
That really touched my heart when he said that.
Yeah, and oh my God, that's so beautiful. It's so beautiful because the potential for the human being to open and let this song to be sung is fascinating, and seeing not only through my direct experience but people that I've been around, to watch them open and to watch this song emerge that they were so terrified to sing, so afraid of all of these things, and then to find out that there's nothing to be afraid of. It's really, really fascinating and very human. This is what I love most about it. It's very human. It's not about, oh, I want to be blissed out and I want to have a spiritual experience. It's, no, what's really here? You know, to embrace all the stories believed without denying them. To embrace the insecurity, to embrace the fear, and see what it's pointing to. It's so beautiful.
Great. One last thing, it reminds me about this sincerity. There's a singer who also passed away some time ago, Andrew Cohen.
Yeah.
I saw a documentary about him, and he was on stage singing his song, and about 3 songs he said, "Sorry, I don't feel it today. I can't perform this now for you.
Right.
So it really, that was so sincere that he said, and he said to people, you can get your money. I cannot sing these songs today for you. It doesn't. I don't mean it or something. And he got off stage.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So you ever in satsang and you think it's not coming from itself today? I have to make it shorter or quit or.
You know, I'm almost tempted to say every single time there's a play of that. It's like there's always, not always, but a lot of the time, this nervousness that arises. That its deep sincerity is, I don't know what to say. And I'm here scheduled to talk over a weekend for 18 hours. And I have no clue what to talk about. And that nervousness is, in a way, inviting me to acknowledge the truth. That you're right, I don't know. And so can I move forward in that? Can I still show up from that sincerity and not know? And from that space, I find something more sincere comes out. And I always end up talking about something that I never planned on talking about.
You're also amazed sometimes, or maybe surprised by what's going on.
I would say every time. Every time. Yeah, because there's a deep sincerity that as I'm sitting there, and I'll start in silence, and inside there's this acknowledgement, holy shit, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say. And then there's this poetry that begins to flow. And again, this is the approach for life. You know, I kind of show up, and it's like the deep sincerity is, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know, like, how to be a human being. I just know that I'm here. And everything that I've tried to make happen or tried to work has failed. And so I'm going to keep trying. Yeah, sometimes I do. And then I fail again. And so this is the teacher. It brings me back to this deeper sincerity that says, you know what? I don't really know what I'm doing. This is what it seems like, but I don't really know. And in that, it releases a great burden of having to pretend like I know.
But there's a big, how do you call it, taboo on that.
Yeah.
Saying that you don't know. What? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, and this is the fear, because the social conditioning is that you're supposed to know. And it's like the last thing you want is someone to ask you what's your plan in 10 years and to not know. You know, who wants to be that guy? But for me, it's not an issue of should or should not. It's an issue of what's true. And the truth is if you ask me what should happen tomorrow, I don't know. Because when I look at my life, as far back as I can remember, there's only been one thing that I was worried about the whole time. That I wouldn't make it to this moment right now. That somehow I wouldn't get here and that all would be incredibly well. And that's the truth right now. And so it worked out. And that was the only thing that I wanted, was wholeness. I wanted to know all is well. And through the journey of my whole life, nothing has gone how I thought it was going to go.
That's your answer.
So what am I going to do?
Yeah.
And I see that in it not going how I thought it was going to go, I discovered the most profound things. Through it not working out, I discovered a deeper devotion for what's real and what's true, for the heart. And that didn't come by getting what I wanted. And so why am I going to keep trying to get what I want, thinking that that's the answer, rather than realizing, my goodness, life, you know. You know what my heart desires. You know what this is really all about. And so I give this back to you. And the invitation is to give the self back to the self, or back to life, which is the acknowledgement that I don't know, but something knows. It's like, how does this forest be the forest? I don't know.
And the forest itself doesn't know.
Exactly. You can look out and say there's 10,000 things and think that you have to manage them. But you realize that it's not 10,000 things. It's one thing, breathing. And in every appearance of thing is doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing in order for the forest to be the forest. And when you see the whole forest, you say, my God, that's amazing. That's beautiful. And so I give life back to life and seeing the wholeness of what it is and saying, thank you. I see you. You're amazing.
So is it just about showing up and being available? Or even that's too much words?
I mean, it is. But, I mean, it's radical self-honesty. And it's not necessarily a path that's all smiles. And I think that's the misunderstanding. It's like, for me, this has been a heart-wrenching journey, man. The amount of tears that have been shed over this discovery and the collapse of who I think that I am is astounding. The pain and the heartache is in its own way very real for the human experience. And so I think that this needs to be taken into an account, because I hear people say, yes, I want to see life like that. I want to see the truth. But do you really? Do you want to really see everything that you're holding on to collapse and see that it's not real? Do you want to see that you're not really hiding, even though you think that you are? Do you want to see that who you think you are is irrelevant? No, you don't. No, you don't. And this is why we have a hard time. And there's a complete innocence in that. I mean, it's not wrong or bad or anything. It's, do you really want to see that? And this is why people tend to wake up to this through painful experiences. Because it's the suffering of life that attempts to wake you up. Because we're suffering over that which isn't real. And so the invitation through the suffering is to let go of what's unreal and connect with what's real. The suffering isn't necessarily required, but it is the teacher for sure. And so I really invite people that this isn't an inquiry of feeling blissed out. It's not about being happy. It's about devotion to what's real and what's true. And it's not about you at all. And this is what, in a way, most people are looking for. It's like what they're looking for in life. They want it to be about them. You know, if you take on this quest or that quest, you're trying to find yourself. You're trying to validate yourself. You want to tell a good story about yourself. You want to fix the inadequacy. And so it's seen as a very personal thing. And from my experience, it's not. It's the sacrifice of what is seen to be personal, so that what is real can be what's real.
I once heard the comparison with the butterfly.
Yeah.
And before it's a butterfly, it's a
caterpillar. Yeah.
And the between the caterpillar becoming a butterfly,
right.
That's a real ugly process.
Yeah, it is.
with a sort of goo that you can even define what it is.
Yeah.
And then a beautiful butterfly comes out of this.
Oh my God, this is so great. This is such a great analogy for life. We get totally destroyed, and then transformed. And it's not a one-time process. In its own way, it's a daily process. It's a moment-by-moment process. It's an annual process. It's everything. It's a constant breathing in and out. And so there isn't this moment of one transformation, because that transformation will lead to another transformation, and there'll be the same path of destruction, you know, as one continues to transform. And what I tell people in the insight that I share, that this isn't about you fixing your life. It's not about you taking this insight into the future. It's seeing what's true right now, letting this touch you right now, and letting that be the point, rather than trying to take this with you to protect your future, which is going to miss the point.
Great. One final question. This interview, it almost feels like a dance.
Yeah.
How does it feel for you?
You know, man, to do this interview with you today blows my mind. Because it's like for the past week or two, I've been in this really kind of playfully difficult space, and where there just hasn't been much clarity at all, and lots of pain and internal heartache and whatnot. And then just over the past couple days, I've been seeing the humor in it all and the insanity of it all, and it's just perfect timing to come and have this dance with you, you know. And so it's just a great example that as I'm sharing these things with you now, that in their own way might have their beauty and poetry to them, It is birthed through, the pain of being human. And so it's just right on time. And so in that, I'm unendingly thankful for the play of being human, which can appear to be profoundly ugly at times, only to expose the profound beauty of what it's been the entire time.
Great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you.
And I hope to see you in the Netherlands. And let's enjoy this beautiful Portuguese weather.
Yeah, totally. Thank you.
Kon je het een beetje volgen?
Ja, supergoed.
Mooi.
Heel mooi.
A new edition of Advaita TV, an interview with Michiel Slechten in Zwolle. I have some information here about Michiel in his book, At Ease at the Well, Praxis of the Natural State. You work as a teacher in natural meditation. Michiel gives conscious therapy in his hometown here where we are, Zwolle, in the Netherlands. Awareness of direct experience is his teaching. Natural meditation is self-realization as praxis. His teaching is simple and profound, and in line with the non-dual Dzogchen teachings from Tibet, known as the praxis of the natural state. The focus is on realizing our natural state of oneness and perfection. After 6 years of meditation practice integrated into everyday living, Michiel awoke in 1995 to his true nature. With the help of a Dzogchen teacher, maybe you can say his name again because it's quite difficult for me.
Yeah, it's Lopon Tenzin Namdak.
Okay, he is also the teacher of the Dalai Lama.
Mm-hmm. Has been, yeah.
Has been.
Yeah.
Michiel followed intensely Byron Katie, Eckhart Tolle and Rinpoche, Tenzin Wangyal Rinpoche.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
After more than 20 years of realization, the e-book At Ease at the Well was published. Michiel Slechten has a clear and poetic way of writing and encourage you direct to experience what is written. Michiel is open for a Skype consultation based on donations, and his teachings are recorded and can be found at his website michielslechten.nl. We'll put a link under this interview. Michiel, thanks for having me, and thanks for this introduction, so everyone knows who you are. 1995. Can you remember anything about that time, that place? Where were you, and what happened?
Yeah, I was in the room where the Lopon Tenzin Namdak gave his teachings about the natural state. And I had praxis meditation for 6 years in different forms, and what he was expressing about the natural state, that's my experience. I thought that man is talking about what is what I feel and what I hear and what I. So. It's very nice as when the teaching is understood by the mind. Mm-hmm. Just when you recognize what somebody is saying in your own experience.
Yeah.
And it was the first time in my life that I heard someone speaking about self-realization, enlightenment, the natural state of being. Yeah.
And where were you?
And that's
was that in Holland, or what was that in the foreign country where you were at that time?
That was in Holland.
Okay,
yeah.
You came to Holland.
Yeah, yeah. a few years he has given teachings in Zwolle.
Yeah.
Of in Zwolle? No, not in Zwolle, in Amsterdam. Yeah.
And what was it that draw you to him? There were more teachers at that time, I believe. Why especially him?
Yeah. I has become curious about the Tibetan Buddhism.
Yeah.
So I read some books, and I find the Dzogchen teaching very attractive.
Because
it's you can compare it with Advaita. It is the Advaita from the
Buddhists.
from the Tibetan Buddhism.
Yeah, yeah.
And no, I feel me drawn to that, and I had made a choice between the Dzogchen teachings from the Dalai Lama Buddhism or the Dzogchen teachings from the Bön Buddhism. There's a difference between those two. The Bön direction is the old religion of Tibet. Long before the Buddhism of the Dalai Lama, from Shakyamuni Buddha, came to Tibet. Long before there was the Bön religion. And no, what me attracted in the Bön religion was their openness, and they're willing to give the whole teachings directly. While in the normal Buddhism of Tibet, the great how do you call that? From the Dalai Lama.
Great teaching.
Yeah. You have to go many years of preliminary practice.
Yeah.
And they told almost nothing about Dzogchen. They kept that secret, you could say. Nobody knows. Most people don't know that there is a Dzogchen teaching in the Tibetan Buddhism.
How come?
Yeah, they kept it. I don't know. You have to start from the bottom up. Make first 100,000 prostrations flat on the ground.
Yeah. Oh.
And come back 3 years later. And that's only one step, and then and the Bön was much more open.
Yeah.
And willing to give the whole teachings.
Yeah. So in 1995, this awakening happened. Then a logical question always is: Did something change in your life? Did you become a different version of yourself, or did all things stay the same?
Yeah, a lot of things have changed. Yeah. For me, it was not a certain realization. It was gradual. So, yeah, we talk about this point more than 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And still, there is a process going on to integrate clarity and openness in every moment.
Yeah.
I see also with the persons who have a sudden awakening, the awakening does not reach every aspect of their life. It can be brilliant, clear in one section of my life, and a stupid fool in forgive me the strong words.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
They are unaware in other aspects of their life.
Yeah.
And so the gradual process is for everyone.
Yeah, no exceptions. No people who are and then.
Yeah, there are some people who are at a very young age have a beautiful realization. That's true. It's how fast that is going, the integration process in every aspect of your life and body. It's not predictable. It differs a lot.
Yeah, so it's a difference for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's for us not. It can be interesting, but we don't have to follow the path Michiel Slechte has followed, or we cannot follow the path. Different for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You always follow your own path.
Yeah.
And every time you think, I try to follow the path from this direction or that direction, it's a little bit dangerous, because you move away from your own path. And that's so important to every time to find your own knowing.
And how do I know if I'm on the right path? There can be some doubt that you think, well, is this right? Is this the right teacher? Is this the right teaching? Is this the right book? Am I at the right place? Do I have to move to another country? Do I have to move to Canada where there's more nature? You know, all those questions which pop up.
Yeah. And they bring you further.
Well, further into thinking all the time. Yeah.
And I can only teach my own way of realization.
Yeah.
And every teacher can only teach his own way of realization.
Yeah.
And what for me important is, yeah. Just being aware of this moment, what is happening now, what is true now, and that is what I am. So perhaps we could deepen that today a little bit.
Please.
What is true and what is not true. What comes up when I say that?
What is true and what is not true? We did some talks before in Dutch, and then you told me that no thought is true. That's what I'm thinking about right now. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, no. The appearance of a thought is true. And it's the appearance of a story.
I know what you. I think I know what you're pointing at. Yeah, and that's not the reality right now.
A story is a story.
Yeah,
it's just fantasy about something.
Yeah, how it could be or should be or will be. Yeah.
We could play a game now.
Oh, nice. Games are nice. Yeah.
Say something, ask something to me about what you think is true.
Okay. Like the work of Byron Katie. We're gonna.
Not okay. Yeah, a little bit.
I'm gonna ask you something which is true. Well,
what you think is true? Yeah.
Yeah. What I think is true is that I'm too fat. That I have too much weight on my body. Is it true? I don't know. In comparison, when I see a picture of myself of 5 or 10 years ago, you could say, well, that was a thinner version of yourself than you are right now.
Yeah.
Is that something we can deepen?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a story, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It's not true. It's a story about I have too much
weight on my body. Yeah.
Weight on your body.
Yeah.
It's when there is no thought about your body.
Yeah.
You are what you are.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong. Yeah. Nothing wrong or right.
Yeah.
It just is. This is the body at this moment.
Yeah. So that's the realization from it is a story about my body.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you know that it is a story, you don't suffer about it.
No, that's true. That's true.
You're free.
Yeah.
And you're free to do what you want.
Yeah.
It is not good. It is not bad. Also, both sides are stories.
Yeah.
So you are free from the stories in that realization that it is a story.
Yeah.
And so you are also free to do something about it or not.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not being very harsh on myself then.
Yeah.
That is when I look at this camera and I see this back, then the story starts. Then I see myself and then I start judging myself. When I don't see myself, I don't judge myself. So all those mirrors and cameras and pictures people take of themselves, for me the judging starts. Self-judging.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you only have to notice what is happening.
Mm-hmm. And don't believe it.
Yeah, that's clear seeing. Clear seeing starts with the recognition that it is a story.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can deepen that recognition to it is a story, but is there attachment in believing that it is true?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I have done the work of Byron Katie for many years, and it's a profound teaching to what to identify that every thought is untrue. Every thought has no base in reality. It's just a story.
Yeah.
And then you know a lot about Advaita.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Ramana Maharshi also says my teaching is the teaching of silence.
Mm-hmm.
Being still is enough. And then he talks a lot about no mind. And no mind means, in his teaching, no thought is true. And when you go to the depth of that, you can find that stillness and silence at all times. Yeah.
Yeah, I can feel it right now also. But that's a strange thing. When I listen to you or when I'm in a room with you, it's not that difficult to find this underlying sense of peace and stillness and no mind and everything is okay. But yeah, we cannot be in a room with Michiel Slechter all the time. So.
Yeah, it's your own stillness, what you feel.
Yeah, okay.
So
how come I feel it when I'm with you and when I'm in a busy supermarket? It's at the back. It's almost gone. I can. It will be there, but I cannot feel it.
Yeah, it's that integration process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Can you give us some tools how to stay anchored in this field of unknowing, or how do you want to call it, this field of love, peace? Can we throw out something there that we can reach it all the time?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are a lot of I call that the bells are ringing with certain sounds. Stillness in a conversation is another bell that wakes you up.
Mm-hmm.
When you are busy on the computer screen and then you pause a little, your head goes up. That's also a moment to deepen your stillness.
Mm-hmm.
Stress, when you feel stress, that's one of the most important bells that can wake you up.
Yeah. Because you know that you have to slow down at that moment, or.
Yeah. Give attention to what you feel.
Yeah.
That feeling wants attention, and the mind, the thinking mind, is the most of the time the first to jump on stress and pain.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the praxis. There's not see what is happening. Eh?
Mm-hmm. Trying to get away from it,
Yeah.
get rid of it.
Want awareness is soft and gentle and friendly and understanding, and you're at ease. Good feelings are coming
Yeah.
together, and it's totally different than the thought process.
Yeah.
The thoughts want to find a solution.
Yeah.
No. Perfect, but wait a little. Yes, feel my pain.
Yeah.
Yes, feel my stress, and aware of what is happening, so your body can come to rest, and then you can use the mind to change something in your but perhaps for your body. So I want to lose weight, so
I buy this.
What shall I do?
Yeah.
Intermittent fasting is a very good way to lose weight.
Yeah.
For example,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, intermittent fasting. I hope I pronounced that correctly.
How does that work?
That works. You don't eat a breakfast,
Mm-hmm.
and the hours wherein you are eating,
Mm-hmm.
you bring it down to 8 hours in a day.
So we should.
So perhaps on 11
a.m.
yeah a.m.
Yeah. You start eating until 7 p.m. and that's
7 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah.
8 or 7 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your body gets the signal. I need food. I need food. I
Mhm.
need food.
Yeah.
So your cells, your hormones get sensitive
Mm-hmm.
to the regulation of your food intake.
Mm-hmm.
And when you eat all the day except when you are sleeping, your body gets the signal from it's enough, not more, it's too much. I want to
Mm-hmm.
have a break.
Yeah.
So it gets how do you call that? Distorted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about this in our Dutch interview. You have a quite different diet than I have. You are on a raw. It's not a diet, but you eat only raw food.
Yeah.
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 What about food? I when I go to the hamburger joint, the McDonald's, and I eat it after 2 hours, I really start feeling dirty. I get this sense about myself.
Mm-hmm.
How come that food gives us so much signals and feelings, and how is that when you only eat raw food? What did that do with you and your body?
Yeah, I do it now 27 years, so I don't know what the difference
No,
is.
yeah. But does it make
it feels good, and it helps me to have a clear mind also.
Yeah.
Clarity is not dependent on the sickness of your body.
Mm-hmm.
You can be clear about when your body gives unclear signals.
Okay.
But you are then clear about unclarity.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like to be clear about clear.
Yeah. So it's not dependent
Yeah.
on this body. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking when I start eating only vegetables and only raw food, fish, maybe then I will become clear also, more clear.
Yeah. No, it doesn't have to do something with your spiritual practice.
No. But there must be a reason for you.
A little bit perhaps, because you are going in search for. You want to be loving to all and everything.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah.
So more caring for your body leads automatic to the good diet.
Yeah.
But Byron Katie was huge. Eh?
Yeah.
And after her realization, she became
thin again.
Yeah, thin again. Why is that? Because it's the same as your house. Your surroundings. You see the beauty of everything. You see the beauty of the most terrible things. And at the same time, you transform your surroundings in more beauty.
Yeah, I can imagine something about that, what you say. So, your book, you have completed the translation?
No, not
yet.
No.
Is it difficult to translate a book from Dutch to English? Some teachers tell me, well, but in English there are far more words for this kind of teachings than we have in Dutch. So, how does that work?
Yeah, for me it's also a little bit difficult because my English is not perfect, but I'm very glad I'm translating it myself and not somebody else, because it has to be in the English language for the reader to be maximum. And when you translate it literal, it doesn't work many times.
Yeah, it loses its depth.
Yeah. And for the with the help of Google Translation.
You can get very far. Yeah.
I hope I get the way of how you set it into written words.
Yeah.
And I hope the poetic way of writing don't get lost in English.
Yeah. And the natural state, is that something that can be reached? Is that something that is always the case? Is it hidden? Is it right in front of me? Where is that natural state, Michiel?
Mm-hmm. It's all about recognizing, eh?
Yeah. You cannot. Can you point to it? Can you say there's the natural state, or here, or is it a taste? How can it be found?
Yeah. Everybody is living in it, but it makes a big difference if you are aware of it or not.
Mm-hmm.
In a technical description,
Mm-hmm.
it is when you are aware of something arising in stillness, then you are aware of the natural state of everything. And that's the oneness of silence and something what is in there.
Mm-hmm.
In Buddhist teachings we call that form. The oneness of consciousness and form.
Mm-hmm. They're not separate.
They are not separate.
No.
I don't know. When we made this appointment, my thoughts are going to this and to that, so what shall we talk about it? And I'm aware of the thoughts are doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So the natural state is just being aware of what is.
Mm. Yeah.
And I say sometimes consciousness doesn't exist. It's an idea. Forms aren't existing too. What is real? Another word for it, for that union, is this. It's a word pointing to whatever happens. Every sound is a reality.
Tasting the tea, hearing the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The color is reality.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts talking about the color and the cup of tea, the thoughts are reality. Making a story about it. There's movement.
Hmm.
Movement is a story. The seeing is reality.
Hmm.
When you see something or hear something, there's no consciousness. Consciousness belongs to talking about it.
Hmm.
The color, seeing the color, is true.
Yeah.
It's only yeah. At the same time, it's a miracle.
Hmm.
Yeah. I don't know if it is totally clear, but my mind is sometimes also a grasshopper.
Yeah.
Jumping from this to that, from this
Yeah.
to that, from this to that.
I know where you're pointing at. I think.
Yeah.
So, but that difference from teachings I hear in Advaita, where they say all there is consciousness, and what you are is that consciousness, because in consciousness things can appear. A cup of tea, a lamp, a Michiel, a Patrick.
Yeah.
Does that differ from how you see it?
No. It's the same, but how deep is the understanding of that teaching?
Yeah.
Is consciousness something you can see or hear or find? No.
No.
It's totally empty, silent,
Yeah.
space.
No form, no...
It's nothing.
yeah.
So, still, we can go inside and know I am aware of everything.
Yeah.
But what in truth are you aware of? From a knowing, that's a form too.
Yeah.
A knowing, I am aware. Perhaps a thought, I am aware. First the knowing, then the thought, the way of expressing that knowing, but still, you haven't found consciousness itself.
Mm-hmm.
The same with the material world. That doesn't exist in the teaching separate from your awareness. Always is awareness involved to find something solid.
Yeah.
Without awareness, there is no
Solid world. No.
solid world.
No. No.
And that doesn't mean outside the room or another city doesn't exist in reality.
But you have no proof.
I don't mean that. I don't mean that, because everything has its own consciousness. This glass has its own consciousness.
It's also conscious, this glass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the one, or the universe, feels itself as glass.
Yeah. It is conscious of itself through glass. Of as glass.
As glass.
As glass, yeah.
As
yeah,
glass.
Yeah.
So when there is no human seeing the glass is still glass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
The one experience itself as the total universe.
Yeah.
There's also a misunderstanding in Advaita many times.
Yeah.
Because they will react every form as non-existence.
Yeah.
But that's a little bit too much of the good thing.
Yeah.
the teaching behind that is that you need to be aware awareness is half of the picture. You can't skip awareness to find only a material world.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness is one with the material world.
Yeah. It needs each other. Or not. It needs each other. So
yeah.
Awareness and the material world.
Yeah. They need each other and they are one. So separate, that's that's what we talk about it. Separate, they don't exist.
Yeah. Yeah. There's another dogma from the Advaita world. I'm curious about how you feel and think about it. That's the concept of free will, but more so, let's say that everything that happened until now, from the moment I was conceived by my father and mother until the moment that I'm sitting in Zwolle right now, in this position, on this chair with you, could this have been otherwise? Or is it exactly how it had to go?
Both are true.
Yeah, it could have been otherwise.
Yes, of course.
But how then? How? What should have? But let's specific.
That's the mystery of life.
Yeah.
So the totality
Yeah.
of everything. It's always in the now, but the whole past is also in the now.
Mm-hmm.
So this totality makes that you are sitting there,
Yeah. Okay.
and I'm sitting
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and we are talking about it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so
Is it all coincidence then?
no, it's not coincidence. No. It's
Predestined? Is it, or is it just a flux of life reacting? And what they say when a butterfly
Yeah.
flaps with its wings in China, it could have easily transformed into a thunderstorm in America. Are things really that connected?
Yeah, everything is total connected. Yeah. But that doesn't mean that yeah. It doesn't mean that you can see ahead what is going to happen.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting and important is that you get a feeling of the how do you call that in English? The
Perfection?
yeah, but perfection is a good word. Yeah, that everything what is real and happening now is perfect. And you can go to that realization at first place. The first step is being still aware of what is, and then in Advaita they have beautiful words, beautiful pointings. They say what you are is being, knowing, bliss.
Satchitananda.
Yeah. Being is the stillness. You fall in stillness, in silence, and you are aware of being.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first step. The second step is knowing. Sometimes it's translated as consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
but knowing is a much more beautiful word for it, much more correct what is really happening. Knowing, awareness is almost the same. Perhaps it is the same. You know when you are, when you realize being, stillness, you know what is true and what is not true.
Yeah.
Only believing your thoughts is the untrue side of it.
Mm. Yeah.
The rest, all is true. And then when you have the certainty of knowing, there is bliss. And bliss doesn't mean you have to be very joyous or
happy,
ecstatic.
Mm-hmm.
Bliss is a word for being at ease. See the beauty of everything. Feeling free. Happy, joyous, creative, clear.
Yeah, spontaneous. You sometimes
creative.
Yeah.
This is all, and we have in the Dzogchen. There's a great deal of the teaching is about that.
Yeah.
Dzogchen means the great perfection. So it's a teaching about this bliss. So we don't call it bliss.
No.
We see that it is everything what you can imagine that is positive and feeling good.
Mm-hmm.
That's a part of your realization of knowing.
Being knowing.
Yeah,
Bliss.
being knowing.
Yeah.
And the bliss part happens spontaneously. That's a result.
Yeah.
You don't have to do special things for that. It's automatically given when you are still and you have that knowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Dutch, you sometimes call it undestroyable contentment.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you mean by that bliss? That satisfied, that cannot be destroyed or doesn't need anything to be satisfied. It's just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being is enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Undestroyable content. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean you sometimes are nervous or have stress.
Mm-hmm.
That's something different, because when you see the being, when you are still, when you are feeling uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
when you are still and you are knowing the reality of your feelings,
Mm-hmm.
and the unreality of your thoughts about it,
Mm-hmm.
then the bliss part takes over.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be even in great pain and at the same time be undestroyable content.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can be in an accident or
Traffic jam.
even dying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You sometimes see that with people who have surrendered to the knowing that they are going to die. There's total contentment and there's total peace and they're at ease and they transmit a kind of vibe that says everything is okay.
Yeah, everything is okay. Yeah. And how do you know that? I most of the time, this is my second question. Be still, and you know it's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And still,
go to the most terrible place in your past. From a silent place, you look back
mm-hmm.
and you find it was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean which some...
That's conscious therapy. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. But that doesn't mean that what some people think about Advaita, some protesters say, well, but Michiel, when your house is on fire, you're not going to sit there and everything is okay. You're going to act and react and going to jump out the window or grab your family and get the hell out of here. That's not. It's not about doing nothing. right?
No.
It's about being inside still and then acting.
Yeah. Your acting get liberated.
Yeah.
When you are confused, lost in your thoughts, stressful thoughts, you it's paralyzed. Good word. You
get paralyzed.
You get stuck.
Yeah.
Stuck and you can't act properly.
Yeah. We have about 5 more minutes. Can you tell us something about where can people find your book? I imagine that it's going to be ready in a couple of months, or are you still working on it for half a year?
Yeah, it's half a year. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Are there any books or teachers you are very enthusiastic about at this moment, except for your own book and teachings?
Yeah, I think Byron Katie, my teacher. I hear every time a lot of people are dismissing the value, are underestimating her teaching because they think it's a method. It's just a method. It has nothing to do with self-realization.
Yeah.
But it is I think the most powerful realization you can get to see the unreality of your thoughts.
Yeah.
And the teaching of Byron Katie is profound in that.
Yeah, the work we are talking about, the 4 questions.
Yeah.
And Eckhart Tolle, do you still follow him, watch him?
No, not anymore. But it's a perfect teacher to see the simpleness, without the doctrine of an old religion.
Yeah.
So it's a very good start, I would say.
Yeah. The power of now.
The power of now.
Yeah.
Yeah, and his videos. Yeah.
And you mean his satsang videos or the videos he does with reacts to people and gives his answers to questions?
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you find on YouTube
a lot. Yeah.
A lot. But a lot more if you are going to his website and you have to pay a little bit about it.
Yeah.
And then you get every month 2 hours of teaching from Eckhart Tolle.
And Osho, have you ever been into his teaching?
I've read a lot about Osho, his books, I mean, before I have my awakening.
Yeah.
After that, not anymore. Our characters are a little bit different.
Yeah.
I am more how would you say?
Laid back.
Yeah.
And final question, what I find so interesting about you, that you have this awakening, it still deepens and deepens, and you are still interested in watching these kind of videos, listening to tapes.
Yeah.
Some teachers say, well, I don't need that anymore. I've seen it, throw away my books, I don't watch YouTube anymore. What's the difference for you?
Yeah. The difference is I like to learn all the different languages, language wherein you can express the truth.
Yeah.
So it helps me to it's a very complicated world, the world of teaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great distraction. Teachings. Yeah. It's a very, very great distractions. Yeah. Don't go there. I almost say.
Yeah.
Because the realization inside is much more simple.
Than watching these kind of things.
Be still, and that's it. That is it.
Yeah.
That's it. And then I follow many teachers in the way they are expressing this simple thing,
mm-hmm.
and they talk all in a different way about it, and then I find that interesting.
Yeah.
I want to learn all that way of expressing.
Yeah.
It makes me perhaps a better teacher because the transmission can go to. Am I still? What is happening now? That's it. More is not needed. But then we talk about it.
Yeah. You also give satsang?
I give satsang, yeah.
In Dutch?
In Dutch, yeah. And sometimes I make a video.
Yeah.
In English also.
Yeah.
But that's just the beginning of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Michiel.
Yeah.
Thanks very much for this nice talk.
Thank you too.
Yeah. And we will find you on YouTube and your website michielslechten.nl.
.nl. Yes. Yeah.
Hello, Lee. How do I pronounce your last name in English?
My last name, Hogenberg.
Yeah, Hogenberg.
Hogenberg.
Hogen Mountain.
Hogenberg in English, I guess.
In English.
Yeah. It's so funny because I hardly ever remember people saying my last name in English.
Yeah, because you lived in Portugal for 10 years?
Nearly 10 years.
Oh, and we just had a conversation. You said we were already actually living like in the moment. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah. Well, the beauty of this adventure going to Portugal was also because in those days, it's about 13 years ago now, I didn't really feel very at home in Holland.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like, didn't feel like I could ground here. And so I thought, my friends were already living there, two of my friends. So I thought, oh, okay, let's join them. And I didn't really have any plans. And that was also not really, my life was never really much like very much one direction. Okay, this is what I want in my life. I was searching, I was going places, I was traveling. But anyway, then I decided, okay, no, I'm not going to travel, but I'm going to live in another country, Portugal. And then from there, things were just, appearing. Like I had a little bit of money to be able to start. And in those days, I was recently I did a study in a traditional Thai massage, which I practiced in Thailand. So then I had the idea, maybe I will go to the beach and I will give massage there.
And it worked?
No, because we didn't live near the beach, so I had to travel like 4 hours or so, and then a bit complicated. And I liked very much to stay in that place, which was very green, and we had our own water, our source.
Okay.
So it was, and then it was just like a little paradise in the middle of nowhere, actually.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And it was really like living day by day.
Yeah, because we were what was connecting us and is connecting us is like the childlike wonder.
Yeah.
And that we all, it's all there, and it's not wanting to make something more out of it.
Yeah. So there's actually like you're at ease with what is every day. At least you were in Portugal.
Yeah.
Because in Holland, you see everyone is like already busy when I will retire and what will be my future in the next 10 years.
Yeah. Well, exactly. So I was not busy with the future in that sense. Maybe planning, because I did all kind of projects. Because I needed to make some income, and we were like pioneering there.
Yeah.
So I even was inventive to start to sell poffertjes on the streets.
Really? That's so funny.
and I had the one, this cast iron, the old one, the old-fashioned one. And I built my own stand out of fabric and a table, and all very creative. And then I asked a friend in Holland or family, can you please send me not the cast iron one, but the one that is much cheaper from the Hema that is non-sticky. I don't know the word in English.
So
and then they sent it to me, and then I asked permission to go to fairs and everything, and to be able to sell these poffertjes, these little pancakes. And so all these kind of things. Well, I was just doing it, and it was giving a little bit of income, but mainly it was all discovering. And then after a while there came something else, and then I met some other people, and then I met my boyfriend, and then we started a restaurant, Yeah. And all of a sudden we were starting a restaurant, and
So life was busy while you were making other plans. Well, you weren't even making plans.
No.
It was just unfolding itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And how did you start your spiritual journey? Or you never started it, actually?
I don't know. It was like this. When I was a child, my mom was starting her spiritual journey. And I was, I guess, 9 or something, 10, between 9 and 15, 16, that she was very busy with it. And, because of her, I got all this kind of information or ideas, and especially a lot of quotes that suddenly appeared in the toilet.
Oh yeah, just like in your toilet.
That's true. Yeah. I copied her now, but now it's not a problem for me anymore. But in those days, then there was something on the toilet wall, and it said, it's not the neighbor's fault. Don't point at the neighbors, point at yourself, or something like that. And then, but the thing was that she was not able to do it herself, because she was all the time pointing. So she was actually putting probably it there as a reminder to herself that she shouldn't point all the time at others or at my father, like that. Yeah. So, and I felt, this is not right. So I didn't for a very long time, and also when I was 16, I met my first true love. Yeah. And then
your first true love.
Yeah.
I'm at second true love.
Anyway, it was my big love. Yeah. And then my whole life went upside down, and then also there was for me a chance to break loose of everything, and also this idea of spirituality, because in a sense I felt that there was some I understood, because there was suffering, and she suffered, and she was looking therefore in other ways. So there was a search, and I always, even before my first relationship, I was always very reflective. I became very reflective. Okay. So I wrote poetry. and it was all. And I was also suffering. I also had pain because of the situations, and because of not understanding why is it like this and all that. So, but then I didn't start to look for spirituality in that sense.
Okay.
It's just that I met, and that's why I said my first love, because that was an important person in my life to give me really, self-recognition, and also trying to understand how things are functioning psychologically wise. Yeah. So I started to understand more about my frustrations and emotions because of that, and things started to fall in place, and I understood it, but also was many times unable to act upon it.
Yeah.
Because it was still very much in the middle of it, and then when you are in the middle of something, then it's very difficult to just let it be.
Yeah, you mostly get stuck in it a little, don't have an overview, and then you see that what people teach is actually what they have to learn themselves the most.
Yeah.
But did it like start rationally at that point, and then became more part of your life automatically? How did things go?
I was very much wanting to be loved, and I guess that I was frustrated because I couldn't find it, even when I was loved in a relationship.
Yeah.
So that really brought me back to heartbroken feelings of losing everything.
Yeah.
And so after my first relationship, I was unable to have any other relationship for many years.
Wow.
Because I was just so lost. I was just completely lost. So then I started to, even didn't know what to study. Well, I could do many things, but I was not clear in my emotions or in my head.
Yeah.
It was all mixed up. So in the end, I started to study fashion, and because I'm a very creative person, and I also wanted to go to the Academy for Art.
Kunstacademie.
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds in English. Yeah.
You understand.
Yeah.
But in the end, I did fashion, and it was very nice. And so, but in the process of discovering things, I was always in a way very reflective.
Okay.
Yeah, and trying to understand why are things happening the way they're happening, and also knowing that there were insights that I understood why they were happening, completely clear to me, and that's also why many people asked me to help them.
Yeah.
Because I could see it very clear, but then I felt also awkward sometimes because I knew that I was not practicing exactly like my mom.
Okay.
Exactly like the example that I had in this pattern. So then sometimes I also felt, this is, maybe, but on the other hand, people like to have
you can even help people with that, even though it's not fully integrated in your life, of course.
Yeah.
And when you came across non-duality, I heard in the previous interview, it wasn't much of a surprise for you. How did it feel?
It was. There was just recognition, only recognition, in the sense of, okay, so this is what they mean. This is what they mean by the word non-duality describes what my life, what this is about, what my life is, what the way I am experiencing it. And I just never heard the word, even though I've also seen the movie, the Mahabharata, because I like the mystics. I like mystic stories.
Yeah, beautiful.
Because they are like, they're speaking in metaphors, and it's beautiful. But I was never looking for a teacher who was mentally or rationally explaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And because you are coaching people,
Mm-hmm.
and what are these coachings about? What do you point to?
Always do the same thing.
You always do the same thing.
Yeah, in
you have a list of rules, you say.
More or less, it's always more. No, there's just absolutely no rules.
Okay.
That's just a funny thing, and I just listen.
Yeah.
And it always comes to the essence of not needing to do something special.
Yeah.
Not needing to go and gather more information, because everything is already there.
Yeah.
And not needing to improve things, but see what is already there.
Yeah.
That's in a way that's always what it comes to.
What's the biggest struggle for people in their lives?
To accept the way life is, as it is.
And it simply is as it is.
Yeah.
But I think we're mostly conditioned with ideas that this present moment is just not quite good enough. You always have to be in the next step.
Yeah.
And then people, they suffer. And then you say?
Yeah. Just let it be and experience what it does, what happens then.
Yeah.
Just to let it fall wherever it falls. And this is also because I can only speak from my own experience as well, and I think that's also the way this human expression functions.
Yeah.
Everybody makes experiences, and from these experiences, that's like your quadro, your frame that you relate to.
Absolutely.
And so, well, for me also, I lost many things, or I went through many processes of frustration and not finding, for example, to fill the emptiness, but the emptiness like a hole, many times they feel the frustration and the powerful and the powerless feelings, and you can't feel it. It's like an ongoing thing, and that also I had to let it go.
Yeah.
And so from there I just gave into life, not knowing what comes next, and that gave in instant liberty.
Yeah.
It was scary. It was scary as hell, but it gave.
It's like you're driving in the car and suddenly you let go of the wheel.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh my god, the car's still driving.
Yeah.
It's scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for a lot of people, that's quite a tough thing. You're so conditioned with the idea that you are a separate person and that you have to control your life and make the right decisions, and that you could have done things differently. How's your experience also with other people? Is this something you can just tell them, or is it something which is a long process for someone? What's your experience in this?
You mean with people in my own environment?
Yeah.
Well, there's not many people.
That's okay.
There's not many
people. Just those two.
Yeah, I find that question a little bit hard because
You just have no friends. Just kidding. I have no friends.
And
Paul.
nobody to play with.
Yeah.
No, it's not like that. But well, the what I noticed, for example, I came back to Holland,
Yeah.
and I first I stayed with a friend for a couple of months, and then it was in an area of Holland, the polder,
Mm-hmm.
and it was good. But after a couple of months, I felt like, yeah, it's good to go to the west where things are happening.
Yeah, actually, things happen here in life.
So then I asked my parents if I could stay there for a couple of weeks, because I thought I'm not going to stay very long.
Yeah.
And then that couple of weeks became months, and this
Yeah.
couple of months became nearly 2 years. And in these 2 years, if you're asking about how is this in your environment, we didn't see each other for many years.
Yeah.
And our relationship was not bad, but it got another dimension by just being in the same house again.
Yeah.
The house where I grew up, and I also was there like, okay, well, let's see what happens. You know, I was not there to say like, you should do it like this. All these things were not for me. I was just feeling like, I'm open to meet and get to know each other, like humans, like persons, not like just parents and child relationship. And that was very interesting. And I know that for the three of us, it all was very, very interesting, very beautiful.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
Because normally they say if you think you're enlightened, go and live with your parents.
Yeah.
And then we'll see.
Yeah.
If you freak out.
Of course, there were moments that were like clashing.
Yeah.
Because I was saying, I don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
But when are you going? When will you have a house? And when are you? When do you have a job? And of course, I understand. And then I had to say, I'm really doing my best. But also, I trust. I feel so much trust in life. You know.
Yeah.
That was the beauty. Just and if they would say, okay, you have to get out on the street, okay, then I'm sure that would happen something else.
Yeah.
Because that happened already when I left.
But this is the
Portugal.
deep trust that life is in a way carrying you instead of you are controlling life.
Yeah.
But that's like such a, let's say, surrender to really understand that this is just one energy in movement.
Yeah.
But you never found that quite scary?
Yeah, I did. Because the previous years in Portugal, it was not easy at all.
Okay.
I mean, it is a beautiful country, and we had a beautiful place where we could live. And we helped each other, and luckily we had each other, because therefore we carried each other in every way, actually, because just by helping physically, but also sometimes financially, we gave each other assignments, or we said, okay, I am a little bit better now, but you can help me with that. And then the other one was doing less. So, but many times it was very, very tight, and we had nearly no money.
Yeah.
And then we just had to, we always were inventive. What shall we do next? Oh, let's start a home restaurant. Let's go to the market and sell all the clothes that we have in our storage. Or I'm going to make jam out of the fruits from the neighbor land, you know. So it was always and that was a beautiful way of just living. I mean, it was really not easy, but it was the flexibility that you have in that way of living is beautiful, and it's most near to living as a child.
Yeah.
Really, it was really like. And then we met people, and people came, and we were always like, oh yeah, welcome. You know, this was like people also attracted to this, because it was like we were like a kind of a womb where everybody was welcome, and then well, we had abundance, even though we didn't have the material richness.
Yeah. And so you're saying, just like a child, I think, isn't it so that we're longing as an adult for the freedom we had as a child?
Yeah, definitely.
So what's the difference between a child and an adult?
No difference. Just a body that is seems.
But it seems that the identification, the belief in the separation that you are someone, gets stronger the older you get.
Yeah, it's possible. It's possible that the identification gets stronger, but also that's the interesting part that I also experienced was while staying with my parents, and I'm the youngest of 3, and my parents are, they are 80 in last year they became 80. So, I could say, and in many years I said also about them, why don't you change, and what's wrong with you, and I had all these. I said, oh, you should divorce, and all these kind of things.
Yeah.
But then when I was staying with them, and I was just there, open and also not expecting anything.
Yeah.
Because I was happy with whatever. Because I didn't have money, I was just happy with anything. So in that environment, everything came more gentle and soft in a way, and opening. And even while I was not saying, like I was already saying, you should do different. In this environment, energetically, things were how you say that, losweken. It was getting loose. It was getting, patterns were melting away.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful, and I was seeing, and I was just, and inside I thought, oh yeah, this
That's
is so
sweet.
Yeah, it's so great. It's so great.
Is it the dropping away of all these thoughts that things should be in a certain way, or that they should be different? Did they fade away? All those expectations?
You mean with them or with me?
With everything.
It can. It can just drop away. I mean, with the me, it happened.
Mm-hmm.
A moment, and I was staying with my parents. I was just there a couple of months, and I looked at my mom, and I see nothing.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there was just nothing to hold on to.
No.
It was just, and she energetically felt it. She was because she always could grab me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but I know I can, influence you, or I know you, or whatever. And it was just what are you doing? What are you trying to do?
Yeah.
And
but this is what you often hear. If someone sees through the illusion, then it's harder for other people to manipulate you, because they fire all kinds of judgments or ideas upon you. And you're like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you also have that with friends, for instance?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, also friends that, as I said, I don't have many friends, but the friends that I have, they are dear to me. Sometimes there's just fixed ideas based on patterns from the past.
Yeah.
And then I was just and when this happens, I just let it. I don't go defending myself about anything. I just let it. And then energetically, it just happens. They start to behave different. That's actually what I noticed the strongest change happening around me.
Yeah.
That without wanting to change, and that was also something that I learned with my friends, researching all the psychological patterns and emotional patterns.
Mm-hmm.
That I always heard the same thing, like you don't have to change, you can never change somebody else.
Yeah.
Change starts here, not there. But that was just theory.
Yeah, yeah.
That was knowledge, knowing of something. And that's why, no, I don't think that's why, but for me, knowing was never superior to anything by other than experience.
Yeah.
For me, life is really like one big, amazing roller coaster of all kinds of experiences.
Yeah. It's as easy as that, actually.
Yeah.
But it's a Zen story that says once you see this, you drop down your dirty laundry for a while, and it's like, wow. But then after enlightenment, they say, you pick up the dirty laundry again and you walk on. So what they actually point at is that even though you see through the illusion and you know this is all one movement, one dance, it doesn't mean that all your psychological damages, your traumatic experiences, that they are gone. Did you experience that as well? That like certain conditioning still goes on?
I have really noticed that most of the conditioning, I mean, there is conditioning, of course. There's
of course, yeah.
preferences, and there's
just like your cat here.
Exactly.
It's conditioned.
Yeah. And I love spicy food, and I
he
love
likes the
chocolate,
sun.
and I like sunshine. Yeah, precies. So that I call that also conditioning.
Of course, yeah.
But conditioning in the sense of emotional
damages
or traumas.
Yeah.
What I do notice is that when I get in contact with people that are completely identified with their traumas, that my body, mainly my body, starts to resonate with it.
Wow. Yeah.
So then it starts to resonate, and then of course the body, there's a memory in the body. It's all energetically somewhere there, memory. It's just build up energy. So I can feel this, and then I feel, oh yeah, this is not mine. But I could get upset or angry or something that gets triggered.
Yeah.
But mostly it's I recognize very quickly that it's not mine. And so it doesn't mean that I'm only sweet and everything, but there is a certain balance that is very stable. But that's just with me.
Yeah.
I know also other people that are very awakened in a way, and they don't have this at all. They are very chaotic or bad humor or frustrations.
And even people who have can be so strongly identified with their own pain, their own traumas, that it's part of their identity. I don't know if you've experienced this in coaching, but sometimes if you take someone's trauma away, it's like, oh, wait a minute, because it's part of who I am.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It could be so strong.
Yeah, exactly. That, because if you take that away, you can't take it away anyway. But if somebody's pulling at it, or people can get really offensive, because this became a new kind of comfort zone. This became a new safety.
Yeah.
Being abused or being beaten or whatever trauma, that's the new shape in which love appears.
Yeah.
And then you cannot even say mistaken, but this is just what's your experience. So this is what you have identified with. And for me, for example, it was one of my patterns was that I was unable to started to enjoy certain things.
Yeah, can you give an example?
Well, I remember that in my first relationship that my partner said, because he was very much joy of life and living, and then I was many times unaware that I was sabotaging.
Yeah.
I was
sabotaging.
yeah.
I think it's just an English.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unconsciously, I was sabotaging the situation. So I forgot my money, my wallet, for example, when we were going to do something nice, so then I could feel a victim.
You bastard.
Yeah. Or I was just sitting. Yeah, just a little bit. I will just eat a little bit, and then he was like, "Oh," yeah, so like completely opposite.
Yeah.
And so it was, for example, things like that.
But it's also a way to get attention at that moment.
Yeah.
And when we get attention, we feel someone, and we feel that the emptiness is gone, and we feel complete again. Or you didn't even feel complete with that.
Nee, it was the pattern was negative attention.
Yeah, of course.
Negative attention is also attention, and then you get attention, but in a negative way, and that was a pattern with me that was very, very strong.
Okay.
Even in Portugal, where I was living a paradise-like kind of life, many people were saying, "Yeah, you have the greatest life." It was completely illusion because many times I was sitting in my beautiful built little apartment, and I was feeling completely frustrated and unable to flow and be open as life was evolving. So that was also part of it.
Yeah, and the world's only in your head, so you can go to Hawaii.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you feel frustrated.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are, is it?
Yeah, exactly.
And now, you still have is life still a roller coaster? It goes up and down, or a boring, smooth ride?
No, it's not. It's definitely something in between.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like there's emotions like and something like that, and it's also absolutely not boring, because in the past, even when I had a beautiful life, I thought that I was boring.
Okay.
And I even said to my friends, "Don't you think that I'm boring?" But it was just my perception of this frustrated and also stagnated energy, this cramp. It was very much cramp, also physically. So I guess that kind of energy you can perceive it as boring, because you experience it as stagnated. It's not flowing. But no, so I guess my life is very much like it has absolutely ups and downs.
Yeah, maybe we could see it like you can be in the roller coaster and totally panicking and screaming and being so tense, or you could just be in it and the ride still goes on, but you're just like, let's go with the flow. Yeah. But I think that mostly happens when you don't steer the wheel in the roller coaster. We're like people, we think there's a steer in the roller coaster, and that we're doing it. Yeah, that's true. I guess that was happening with me too. Yeah. But maybe not so much, because my life was pretty... I always very much felt the victim in the traumas, in the patterns. It was just a pattern that I completely copied. So, no, I don't think that I ever felt that I was in control. Actually, I never experienced I was in control. I wanted to have control. Yeah. It was a contradictive. Yeah. And are there any big challenges in your life at the moment? Don't start to cry. A big challenge? No, I don't think so. No, I'm very much enjoying my life. I meet nice people.
And recently I've had some interviews, and I'm doing very nice things. And I'm very much just letting my life organically happen as it happens.
Yeah.
And I also, apart from my personal website,
Mm-hmm.
I also started a project that's called freeflowing.org.
Mm-hmm.
And for now, what's it's about, it's exactly about this, it's about a free flowing constant of life.
Yeah.
And I want to inspire and invite people to connect with it.
But you're going to do talks, or you're already doing them?
Yeah, I do also talks.
Yeah.
But not yet very frequent.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes.
You're so humble.
Humble. Yeah, but it's got nothing to do with humble.
It's just as it is.
I just don't know where it's going to go next.
No, okay.
Maybe in a month I will be very busy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. But as I also said to Patrick, I'm just open for any new projects and also working together. I would really like also to work together with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like creative, or all linked in this essence.
Mm-hmm.
Things that give another. I like dynamics.
Yeah.
Being in my own is also nice dynamic, but dynamics in the sense
To
with
share.
others. Yeah.
And just to give you some promotion, what's your website?
My website is Lie Hogenberg, dus L-I-E.
It's impossible in English.
Yeah.
Lie Hogenberg.
Yeah, you have with a K.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you can mention it.
I'll put it next to the website. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, thanks very much.
Yeah. Well, you're welcome.
So sitting here in beautiful Valkenburg, of all places. I've been to quite a lot of places in Holland talking about this stuff, but never in my hometown or the region I come from. So it's a little special.
It's a surprise. Huh?
Yeah, it's a big surprise and a nice surprise. So Renanda, thank you for having me. When I entered the room, I saw, "Please leave your ego outside."
Isn't that a great idea?
It sounds great, but how do I know if I left my ego outside or I'm just talking from ego right now?
You'll find out through this conversation.
Yeah. And is that something you can recognize immediately, or
Yes.
mind stuff versus heart stuff, or?
It's very easy to tell when a person starts talking either about himself or actually anything. Everything that you say demonstrates what you believe. And what you believe either comes from the ego or it comes from spirit. So it's actually pretty easy.
And is there like a combination that is possible, or is it always one or the other?
No, you can flip back and forth. Most insane people do.
But not at the same time. I'm not
No,
talking
you
from...
can't do it at the same time.
So I'm not speaking from spirit and ego.
At the same time.
No.
No, it's impossible.
And a simple example would be, I was talking like, oh, I interviewed this one and this big teacher, and
That'd be ego.
that'd be ego.
Yeah.
And spirit, I would tell you that I bought A Course in Miracles, the book about...
No, that could be ego too.
Okay. Well, let's try if I can put it from spirit. I bought that book like 1.5 years ago, and every time I look at it, it scares me. Why
That
is
would be ego, fear.
Why is that? That book gives me the creeps, and not the creeps in a sense of I think it's bad, but I think when I'm done finished reading this book, no more excuses.
That's right. That's why.
So some part of me thinks, wow, we should...
That's spirit.
The spirit is that part that says...
Hallelujah, we've got the answer now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And ego tells me to get out of the room.
Yeah, be afraid of this. This is going to cost us something. There's loss involved in this. That would be the ego.
And what will I lose when I finish reading this book?
The ego. But it's not about reading the book, it's about being what you were or are, and that's what the book is telling you. It's reminding you of who you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And if you accept that truth, then the false self that you've made to replace that will disappear.
So I don't have to finish the book for that process.
No, you can do it right now if you want.
I don't need the book at all.
No, if you're willing to do it completely right now. And if you're not willing to do that, then the book would be helpful.
And how do I know if I'm willing to?
Being awake is not like being asleep. And you'll know the difference. I mean, it is so obvious you can't miss it.
Mm-hmm. So when I entered this beautiful place you have here, I felt a lot of love in the air. I told your wife, love is in the air over here. What's that, what I feel when I get in here?
I think you got it.
I know what this is all about here.
Yeah,
Love.
It's all about love. There's an old saying, and I'm sure you're familiar with it. It goes, God is love. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever God creates, he uses himself to create. So whatever he creates must be love. So if God created you, then you must be love. That's all that A Course in Miracles wants people to remember, that they are what love is, and they can stop pretending that there's something else that you can do that would make you happy other than being love. So we try to practice that here. Everyone is undergoing their transformation here, and they're succeeding to whatever degree they're succeeding in being loving and letting go of their beliefs that bring them pain and suffering. So hopefully people can come into this place and recognize that those who come here are sincere about their transformation. And therefore there is a frequency that will be helpful to anybody else that has that same desire, or who has not had that desire and is suffering not having that desire. And then it becomes inspiration.
Is that a contagious thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it maybe the
It's
same?
lethal.
Lethal?
Yeah, to the ego.
Kills the ego?
Well, it's lethal to the ego.
Okay. So, is that the same thing some people experience when they go to like a big dance festival? Sometimes it's called the Love Parade, the Love Festival.
I don't know. I've never been to one.
But it's not the same atmosphere that you get out of joining each other in one experience, like music or theater. Or
I don't know. I've never been to one.
Never been to any? Yeah,
No.
you've been to a movie or...
Yeah. But
but-
usually they have the lights off and you don't know that there's anybody else there.
So is love about the other one, or is it about me?
It's always about you. And only you. It's never about somebody else.
Because?
Because there is only one of us.
So I'm talking to myself right now.
That's the truth. But it's a self that you might not remember or might not recognize. And so in the darkness, or as Buddha would say, in ignorance, you think differently than the truth. But just because you think differently doesn't make it the truth. It just makes it what you get to experience.
So even if I'm the biggest egoist on the planet, I'm still you.
That's true. And I'm changing my mind about that so that we're not going to have the biggest egotist on the planet any longer.
Okay.
We're not going to allow that any longer.
No.
We're changing our mind about that. And that's where the love comes in.
So is ego the biggest disease on the planet?
It's probably the only disease. Everything else looks and is named whatever way you want to, but it comes from the same source.
But trying to get rid of ego makes it harder maybe, or even like more existing?
Yeah, there's an old New Age saying, what you
resist
persists, and I think that's true. So if you just focus on rejecting thoughts within your own mind that are less than loving, and then accept a replacement that is loving, then you're not fighting with anything. You're just making a choice.
Selecting the
Yes,
right ones.
That's right.
You once said about the mind, it's a kind of receiver. So we don't produce thoughts ourselves. We receive thoughts.
Well, it depends on who you say or think we is.
Yeah,
I'm saying that mind is it's like a muscle that spirit uses.
Mm-hmm.
And spirit puts thoughts into the mind, and then the mind has the ability to choose what it wants to manifest. And then you also have the source that people call ego, or the Christians call Satan, or whatever other name you want to come up with. And there's a thought system in association with that also. And they are completely true unto themselves. Whole. They are true or whole unto themselves. In other words, spirit doesn't share some of the ego ideas, and ego doesn't share any of the spirit ideas. They're completely whole unto themselves. But mind is, in a certain sense, separate from that, which is kind of difficult to say that because it's not really separate, but it functions separately. That's how it receives two different sources of thought.
Can this mind be trained like a wild horse? Or?
That's what A Course in Miracles is all about, training the mind. It's a mind training program. And of course in India you have yoga, and they have mind training programs where you train your mind to overcome the not only the desires of the body, but the ideas of the weaknesses in association with it, whether it be sickness or just energy. It's all about training the mind and getting it aligned once again with the will of singularity.
And is there a certain age you have to reach before you can start training this mind, or?
No, there's no age. We have a 2-year-old boy who runs around here, and he's training these people already.
Yeah. He's the biggest teacher around.
Well, he's one of them.
One of them, yeah. Okay. Can you tell me a little about your path? How you went about on this journey, or this people you met?
I don't actually have too much to say about that. My journey was actually, it's not important, but it's really not any different than anybody else who makes the journey from not knowing to knowing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the journey. I didn't know, something happened, now I know. And how it looked is it's not important, because the not knowing is not important.
Mm-hmm.
There's no importance to it. There's no value to it. So to talk about it as if it has some value as to causing, the awakening, it actually has nothing to do with your awakening.
No.
It has everything to do with the belief that you're not awake. So to me, it doesn't really have any significance. I don't even think about where I came from and what I was involved in, other than whatever lessons were part of the awakening. That's still with me.
Mm-hmm. What kind of lessons were they?
Love is the answer, that kind of a lesson.
And anybody in particular who told you that? Or is that something you picked up yourself?
Well, actually, when you wake up, you recognize that everybody's actually telling you that. Even the ignorant ones and the ones who are asleep. They're actually telling you that, but they don't realize they're telling you that. But when you know who they are, you know that's what they're telling you. And they're telling you that through their pain and their suffering. They're telling you how much they want love, and how much they want to be aware of love, and how much they want to share that love. But they're telling you they're having great difficulty in that because of all the pain and the suffering that they're having. So you begin to see things differently.
So the biggest jerk I meet on a crossroad, who gets out of his car and starts yelling at me, he only tells me he needs a hug? Or?
Absolutely. I don't know if I'd want to hug him. He might slug you one. I don't know. But he's certainly saying that. He's certainly indicating to you that he hasn't experienced as much love as he really wants to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why he finds himself in that kind of a state of mind.
But when I think about love, and what people and my parents taught me, that love was something you got to earn. Or love is something that can be taken away from you when you're bad. Or that's not the kind of love you're talking about.
No, not at all.
It's unconditional love, or
No, it's just love. I don't believe there's such a thing as unconditional or conditional love. I think that's part of the illusion. I think love is all there is.
so, yeah. And could you replace that word love with God?
God is love.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is his son.
Jesus.
You.
Me.
Yeah.
Son of God.
That's right.
Okay. But there's
How does that one fit?
Yeah, it feels good.
Okay.
But there's a lot of people on planet Earth who think there's only one Son of God.
There is only one Son of God.
But he's sitting here as
As
apparently
multiple.
two. Multiple.
That's right. And that's the illusion.
Yeah.
All of the masters, everyone who's been on the planet here teaching, have always called this world that you perceive is an illusion.
Mm-hmm.
And where is the illusion happening?
In me.
It's got to be happening somewhere, right? And you're connected with us, so it must be happening somewhere where you're connected to it. That's where your mind is. Your mind is not in your body. Your body's a part of the illusion, and it's in the mind.
Mm-hmm. So only one mind.
Yes. One sun, one mind, one creation, one creator. One's a good number.
And sometimes they call it one without a second. Why do they say that?
Because a second would be duality.
Is your teaching or the stuff you talk about, could you place it in like the box of non-duality, or is that a
Pure
bigger?
non-duality.
Pure. So that implies that there's also not pure non-duality.
Well, there are those who have looked at the idea of non-duality and still exists, that what you experience through your senses, through your perception, still has a sense of reality to it.
Mm-hmm.
So they call that non-duality, meaning, you know, that it's not true, and yet they are true. And pure non-duality is no, even the you that you think you are has no reality to it. And that's what you awaken to. That's what the real awakening is.
Can you say that once more? The real awakening.
No, I can never say things more than once.
We should rewind. But sometimes in non-duality people say it's both real and unreal. You don't agree with that?
Not at all. The way I would understand somebody saying that to me would be that if they're going to call something real here, it's like if somebody took a hammer and hit you in the arm, it would break, most likely. So is that real? Well, no, but that kind of stuff happens in an illusion. Can you accept that things happen in an illusion without it being reality? Or must you insist that because you experience it, it's real? And this is where the mind gets healed. If you can accept that things like that happen in an illusion, then you don't have to accept it as reality. You can say, I'm experiencing an illusion, rather than trying to make it real.